Maybe I'll start with the question of why a philosopher should be interested in rhetoric. And I can prove that they are or were because Aristotle, the philosopher as he was called in the medieval tradition, wrote a book called The Art of Rhetoric, and which remains an absolutely fundamental text in the study of rhetoric and has been since it was published. It's been adopted and adapted in many ways, expanded in some ways, in the medieval period especially, but really that's the core of it. And the question is, or the question you pose is why? He studied politics, he studied biology, metaphysics, and so on. Why rhetoric? What does that have to do? And it's a long and difficult question, but I would say that the ancient thinkers, including Aristotle, were not Enlightenment thinkers in the way that we think of that term, that there could be a kind of universal change in human society and human culture such that we would live our lives by the bright light of the sun, the truth. And I think the ancient thinkers, including Aristotle, always thought that in a political community there would be reigning opinions, some of which would be better than others, truer than others, but they would have the character of opinions. And that means that science, philosophy, wouldn't be adequate for the guidance of political life. And insofar as political life would always be, at least to some extent, in the realm of opinion, what you need is this thing called rhetoric, which is the art of persuasive speech. How to persuade someone to do something or not to do something, not simply in the light of the truth, but on the basis of an argument which appears to that person, given their existing opinions or prejudices, as the case may be, that it would appear persuasive. Although Aristotle did a very great deal, perhaps more than any other single human being, to bring a kind of science to the world, philosophy to the world, nonetheless he thought that there would always be a place for rhetoric. The big challenge that I think he tried to face, at least, is rhetoric needs to be responsible. Because if you're not dealing simply with truths, mathematical or otherwise, you're dealing in opinion, then for that very fact, people can be manipulated by their opinions, by persuasive speech. And so rhetoric, I think his view was, is a necessity. It will always be with us. For so long as there have been human beings, we've tried to persuade each other to do or not to do something. And no amount of science, philosophy will change that fundamental fact. And so he tried to bring a kind of precision and clarity to the practice of rhetoric, but also a kind of guidance, a moral, political guidance that would make it more responsible or at least less irresponsible.